check him just before he gets in this machine, basically, to see what his skills level up. Where's he gone? There he is. Okay. So let's just have a look at the job screen. So, Travaldo is currently on 267 now. Okay. So let's see what he gets when he finishes this job. Or finishes one iron. Right, so that's one done. 267, 268. Okay. This maybe is not the best way. So it must be based on time spent doing the job then. In which case, having him doing a manual generator would probably be better. Interesting. Is there anywhere where I can see his job stats? Like, that is something I would very much like to know for sure. It's not in the stats. Oh, assigned maybe? No, stats. Right, it's not in there. It's not there. Feels like it should be shown here. Feels like it should be in this section here. Oh, he has many germs on him. Oh, General Engineer, 54% mastery. There we go. General Engineer, 55. Okay. So we can see it at a glance then. It's a bit hidden, but... Okay. It's definitely going through it pretty quick. Never getting a liquid fuel cooker. I had to use Trendy. It's too much of a faff for me. Yeah, my mate was a bit of a camping. Well, he was a rock climbing enthusiast, so he often went off places and camped, like Wales and Scotland and places like that, and then went climbing for the day. So let's see how Travaldo's getting on again. What can we get him doing? What can we get him operating? What have we got? What can we get him doing constantly just to level his skills up? Must be something. Let him run. I know we can use manual gens mechs, but I don't know if I want to. No, it's fine. It's fine. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have him doing all sorts of goodies soon. Let's get this done. We're going to need a ladder there. We need a ladder there. Going to want to pump in here. It'll be fine. Nicholas, good evening. How's it going, buddy? Welcome to the stream, bud. How are you? Okay. So we'll just run this out here. We'll get some power put in as well. Should be able to be iron. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, buddy. And as I say, welcome to the stream, mate. How are you? Playing some Hex between classes and like to watch a fun stream between rounds. Nice. Nice. Well, welcome, as I say. Have you played much of Oni, mate? Are you an Oni fan? So I'll put you in there as well. Put you in there. 2-0 so far in my card, Tony. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Let's get in there. Now, lads, that's definitely already in the quote log, mate. Definitely. It's got to be already in there, surely. Right. I want to make sure these. Damn it. These get done first. Might have a slight spillage here, but it'll be fine. Yeah, love me some oxygen not included. Nice. Farming changes with a new update are a bit hardcore for a scrub like me. I'm going to starve to death running out of dirt. It's so much. Yeah, you're not alone, to be honest, mate. Jobmaster, please be Trollo. Son of a bitch. You're not alone, to be honest, mate. I'm still on meal lice myself at the minute. I'm just pissing away dirt. We're down to 114 tons. So yeah, you're not alone. I do feel your pain. But I think it's all just about diversifying as much as you can. So many different types of food. You know, mushrooms and sleet wheat and all sorts of stuff. You must go for it as well. Okay. Right, this is going to cause a nightmare now, by the way. So what we want to do is get all of this done immediately. I'm not able to grow anything but meal lice, to be honest. I think that's probably one of the next things we need to sort. We do need a slime crop, I think, as in mushrooms. But I'm wondering if I can do it all with conveyor lines. Does anybody know if the new conveyor lines sublimate gas whilst stuff is moving on it? Because if it doesn't, then I'll be able to move slime through it without worrying about polluted oxygen in my mushroom room. Because that'd be pretty sweet. I've got a feeling it does. I remember reading something about it still... like bleach stone will still emit chlorine and stuff like that, I think. Pretty sure. Game plan is set up some sort of fertilizer cooker before I start. Easiest way is probably tepidizer at the minute, Nicholas, but he's cooking it in big amounts. That's the thing. 100 player sips a latte at you. When you ignore him, he continues slurping louder and louder. 100 player, good evening, buddy. How are you, mate? Is it a delicious latte? That's what I want to know. And have you added any spice or caramel stuff to it or anything like that? You can take it through a chlorine room if it does, but I don't believe so. It's more just about getting polluted oxygen in my mushroom room, that's all I was thinking. They can't get down here, or can they? Don't think they can. Just do that. Just plain frothy milk. Delicious though. Nice. I had 2 of them on a coffee. It's not a latte, but it's damn tasty. Idle. What can we get Travaldo doing? What's this for? Is this just for stress? Yeah, bollocks. Yeah, we're going to start scolding a lot of people, so stress is going to be on the rise. So that'll be fine. Need to get a medbay down as well. I need to get that sorted before we delve into oil. Life, if the conveyor was in the wall, can it even sublimate since the tile is taken up? I don't know, Blue, that's what I mean. I've not played them enough. Should we have a little debug tinker? Let's just save this and I'll quickly jump into debug. I kind of want to show you a build I've been tinkering with as well. So let's see if this works nicely. Right, I'll show you this turbine build I've been working on today because I'm quite happy with it. I've not shown it on the forums or anything yet. I need to enable my debug, give me a sec. It's a bit of a monster build, or it's not a monster build, but it's a sexy build, I think. There's been a hotfix today, for those of you that might not know, and it has cocked up steam turbines, or rather, it's cocked up packets, like large packets of gas, and it's fucking a lot of things up. So, for example, if you get a packet of steam above like 20 kilos, 30 kilos, randomly all of a sudden, it'll just vanish. It's just deleted from the world. Which is obviously a problem for steam turbines. So I'll show you this and see what you think. Basically, at the moment, steam turbines are consuming water and steam, which they shouldn't be doing apparently. So they've changed it. Sneak preview, very nice indeed. Do you have Worlds Adrift? I don't, Biddy, no. Good evening, by the way, buddy. How are you? Sexy build, so ready. I'll show you some of the tinkerings I've done, and then we'll check these conveyors to see if they do sublimate. So I would like to know that. It will affect our builds quite a bit. So, first things first. There we go. Okay, so I did post a video on YouTube with this steam geyser build, alright? And I'll just show you what the problem is now. I can show you pretty easily with a bit of water. If we get some water, 373.5, that's just about ready to boil. If we paint some water in here, this room is hot, okay? It's toasty hot. Oh shit. That should be a 2. This room is not as hot as it was anymore. No, that should be a 3. I can show you up here. So if I paint some water in all these, okay, these are all just steam turbine boiler rooms. These ones at the end don't really work all that well because the heat can't travel far enough. We'll just paint over this stuff. And we'll do it up here as well. Right. Okay, I'll just give you a bit of the rundown on steam turbines in case anybody's been playing with them and doesn't understand what they're doing at the minute. Basically, steam turbine, these fan tiles at the bottom act like a gas permeable tile, or an airflow tile as they're now called, right? So basically, water can collect on the top, steam can go through the bottom of them, right? So the fans technically are just an airflow tile. So what I've got here basically is a tepodizer that's constantly being triggered on and off, okay, with automation. Bing, 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 toggling it on and off. What that does is boils this water here into steam. So now we've got 100 kilos of steam sat here. The turbine will now start spinning up, okay, and we're generating power. And, you know, I'm now at 30 kilos of steam, 20 kilos of steam. It hasn't left here because it can't get past this water. It's just pissed through the generator, okay? But you saw how much I painted in. I painted in like 100 kilos of water on all these tiles. We'll forget this one for now. Same with these over here. These are basically a modular version of this. So this built 5 times in a row, but only using one tepodizer, and it's the same principle at the bottom. Tepodizers being toggled on off, on off, on off, on off, on off. Okay, and that just basically heats the water up an awful lot. This one's running a bit hotter because I'm trying to transfer my temperature all the way down this metal plate. Okay, and it's not quite hot enough. I can't quite get it hot enough without cooking the room itself. Okay. You know the other Ronnie streamer has a cat. 4 times many viewers. You need a cat life. Yeah, but Idra can't play the game, mate. It's fine. I'd rather be able to play the game. Actually, I'd rather have a cat. We need to get a nice house so we can get a cat. And then I'll be a big time streamer overnight. I need some tits and a cat. That's what I need.
Yeah. But you could get me a hamster.
I could get you a hamster.
And I could train him to sit on your shoulder. You could
Hamster parrot?
Yeah, the best kind.
I like hamsters.
Then you could just give him a little seed every now and again, and he would just
Hamster parrots don't eat seeds. They eat crackers made of shells. You know nothing. They eat cuttlefish crackers. Jesus. What was I saying? You've got the tits, just a cat. Fuck you, XP. Fuck you, Biddy. Not you as well. How dare you? Right. What was I saying? Temperature. Okay. What's basically happening with this build is we're running 3 turbines off this one tepidizer. These 2 end rooms don't generally tend to get hot enough. If I hadn't painted in the water at pretty much ready to boil temperature, it wouldn't have worked. However, these ones work fine. So again, you'll see when we come back to these in a minute, there'll be no water and no steam left in the room. Okay? So it'll just consume it for some reason. So then what I did, after playing with this and playing with this, I went and built a monster over here. Okay? This has now been turned off, rendered useless. It doesn't work. Same problem with this one. Steam was disappearing. Okay? Just vanishing. I had this massive double tepidizer boiler, can make massive amount of steam, and then all of a sudden the steam will vanish. Okay? So, I changed the setup a little bit. So I went back to my modular design that I had at the start. Okay? I've still got my tepidizer at the bottom. It's still being toggled on and off with automation. Like so. But then I've got some what's basically simulating a pre-boiling tank. So just a tank with a tepidizer in and a thermal sensor, getting it to 98 degrees, or you know, close to boiling basically. This is then on a liquid shutoff pipe, liquid shutoff connected to an Atmos. A liquid sensor basically. Show you the automation. You can see that this liquid shutoff is connected to this hydro sensor, and this hydro sensor is just saying pump in more water if it drops below 20 kilos, and then that water gets split into smaller packets. Currently I'm pumping in 1 kilo a second. It gets split into these vents and then basically creates our steam in the middle, but as you can see it's not producing enough, so 1 kilo ain't enough. The room is hot enough, but yeah. So maybe that needs to be up to like 1500. I don't quite know how much these are consuming at the minute. Saturnus on the forums earlier said it's consuming 5 kilograms a second. I don't think it is. I just think it's bugged. I just think it's broken. But that's that one. So off the back of that, I thought I'd get more creative and do a bigger build. Right? So I'm only telling you this now so that we can come back and have a look at these in a minute. Here is the bigger build. Okay? Now, this can be scaled up again. But what we've basically got here is an aqua tuner set up at the bottom. Alright, so the aqua tuner is basically submerged in a little bit of oil and a little bit of petroleum, okay, to give us like a tiny amount of liquid to satisfy the requirements of the aqua tuner. But because it's such a small amount of liquid, it will heat up very well. Okay, so it transfers the heat really well, but doesn't boil away like water would. Okay, so we've got crude oil in here at 109 degrees at the minute, and we've got petroleum at 109 degrees as well. In here we've got a thermo switch that basically says if this goes above 135 degrees, turn the aqua tuner off, no matter what. That's like an override switch. If it goes above 135, off, because I don't want this to melt, because I build closed builds, and everything I build in debug, I want to be able to build in single player. There's no point being able to build something in debug that you then can't build in a real game, because what's the fucking point? So that's that. It's surrounded with metal tiles, and that's just to radiate the heat out. Okay? Behind there we've got some temp shift plates that are just dissipating the heat into the room, and then we've basically got a couple of switches down here. So we've got a thermo sensor here, that's detecting the temperature of the liquid or steam in the room by the fact that it's on top of these temp shift plates. And then on this side we've got, same again, a hydro sensor, and this is basically saying if below 5 kilos of water, toggle on this pump. And this pump again is just simulating, you know, geyser water coming from, you know, your steam geyser, or a preheated tank of water that you've used just a tepidizer and a thermo switch again. So you want to pre-boil the water, otherwise you're asking this to do too much work. Okay, But that will toggle on water to be pumped into here. I've not reduced the packet size because this is a bit of a monster in fairness, and as you can see, it pretty much boils straight away. That steam then stays in each individual side, and what basically happens is it comes up here through the steam turbine and hits this wall here. Now what this basically is some airflow tiles again. Above the airflow tiles I've got some petroleum, and that's to act as like a really good heat sink. So if you look, there's my petroleum's at 1.5 degrees. Underneath it, past this airflow tile, it's 102 degrees. So it's a really good insulation, okay? What that means is my steam basically floats past the steam turbines and condenses up here, okay? Any water that comes down will fall down, it can't get past this side, so it will run off the steam turbine and pool here on this door, at which point, if this door has more than 5 kilos of water above it, it opens and dumps the water down onto either side. It's not very scientific, it's just a way of dealing with the water without constantly letting steam up the middle of the room. Because I want the steam localized underneath the turbines, basically. And there the water dumps away. Now this is still slightly intermittent, I need to tinker with this a little bit, but for the most time it's pretty much 100% uptime, which is kind of cool. At the very top here we have what's cooling our oil down, okay? And also what's feeding our aqua tuner. So, the aqua tuner at the bottom needs to be constantly running so that it's ready to tick on and boil again if needs be. So what I've got at the top is a pool of oil, okay? Inside this pool of oil is a tepidizer. The tepidizer is going to keep this oil at 17.9 degrees, okay? This pump is constantly pumping, no matter what, okay? This pump will always keep this line filled with oil. The tepidizer is being managed by this switch and this switch anyway, so this is just to supply the oil. If the tepidizer needs to run, it can pump the oil through, which then goes through a radiator up here, and as you can see the oil's coming out at like 5 degrees through the radiator, which is where we're getting this cold temperature from, and then gets dumped back into the oil pool up here. This pump is being controlled by this thermo switch. If anything goes catastrophically wrong, i.e. this oil goes above, what is it now, minus 37, it toggles the pump. That's basically all it does. And all of this is intermittent, so it uses very little power. The tepidizer only spins on occasionally. We should be able to see. You can see when it spins on. It's like the briefest of periods every cycle. It's using hardly any power. Likewise, this pump is running fairly often, but could be made a bit more efficient with a valve, possibly. Likewise, the tepidizer is running constantly, so the tepidizer is using a lot of power, but we are generating far more steam than we need, so this can be scaled up, definitely. So I'm going to do some more tinkering with that and probably expand this out a little bit. Probably another couple of divides like this and make these, try and handle more turbines. Because 2 turbines is 4 kilowatts. If I'm using 1200 watts straight away on one tepidizer, it's not the best of builds. But that's that. Let's go and have a look at our steam. Yeah, our other turbines that we painted in like what 700 kilos of water before have now got hardly any steam in the room, and they're now down to 46 grams of water. It's being destroyed. Is that setup deleting water and steam still? Yes, it is, Nicholas. Yeah, this setup is also deleting water because this is constantly getting fed water. So when it needs liquid down here, you'll see it'll pump liquid in. So yeah, I've not measured how much it's consuming, but it's consuming a lot. The one that's sort of I need to have a look at, I just didn't have time today, is this one. So this one will be able to tell me what I need to keep it going. So as you can see, we're still stifling at the minute. If I put this on 2 kilos, we'll check back in a minute and see what it's doing. But yeah, all these will be the same. They'll have hardly anything in it. This one's still got quite a bit of steam, in fairness. These haven't done it yet. But eventually they all do it. They just boil dry. Like this one has down here, which sucks. I don't understand it. I posted it on the clay forums. I don't understand it. Doesn't seem to be anything about it. There's no changes to the notes on the turbine to say that they now consume water. It just doesn't say anything. It's very confusing. But this is a monster. I'm going to do some more on this. I might do a little YouTube video explaining this a bit better. Maybe when I've pimped it a bit more and got it working a bit better. I basically did this before I ate my tea tonight and didn't really have time to finish polishing it. This was a monster, but they broke this with the last hotfix. This was working really well, using the anti-entropy thermo-nullifier to cool down our hydrogen, but it completely got ruined with the last hotfix, which is one of them things with pre-release, in fairness. I've got to expect that sort of thing. Yeah, we need a bit more water. So whilst we're doing that, let's just do a little test then to see if our shipping lines actually do... Where should I do it? We'll do it down here. Actually do sublimate. So if we do something like that. I want a vacuum. I may need to temporarily bring a dupe over here, but whatever. So if we have a conveyor loader in this room, we'll try it with the vacuum first of all, and then I'll introduce some gas and see what happens. And we'll have receptacle there. We'll have conveyor rail. And we'll do it doing a bit of zigzag so we get a good representation. Oh, what's happened here? Yeah, you can get to there. We'll do it with an auto sweeper as well, why not? You can go there. You can go there. Okay, so we'll say this one. Wait, yeah. We'll say this one is going to be. Should we try it with chlorine? Should we do bleach stone? Tell you what we'll do. Let me submerge this in water. That's probably a better test. With the way you have the water collecting in that monster, you could use it as purifier. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I just started playing this and I've twice as many dupes you on cycle 17. How are you so far along with so few dupes? Grey Grayson, I'm in debug mode testing a few things. It's like creative mode. I'm testing some of the new kit that